Welcome back. It is exactly 19 after 9 o'clock. We're now going to be talking with Verushka Memdutt. She is with Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia. And the reason why we're talking with Verushka is regarding the mass deportation of immigrants. This was a statement made by the Minister Arun Matsoaledi, and also the Helen Suzman Foundation has launched an urgent application against the Home Affairs Minister and his department in the High Court to stop the mass deportation of illegal immigrants in the country. A very good morning to you, Verushka Memdutt. Welcome to the program.
Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for your time. How does your organization respond to that statement made by Dr. Arun Matsoaledi? Do you believe it's totally unfair? And let's assume that he doesn't follow through, because we do know that the Helen Suzman Foundation are going to court on the 18th of this month. Do you believe that xenophobic attacks might be on the increase?
Well, us as an organization look at the role of government and leaders have to play when dealing with issues of this nature. I think what we need to really look at is who this Home Affairs Minister is, knowing well that he is from the governing party, and obviously the governing party coming from one of the greatest liberation movements that made us find ourselves where we are today. But I think something very important for us to realize is how we approach our fellow African brothers and sisters, having come from the history that we have. And I think in this case, the utterances by the minister takes us right back to him to say that has he looked into why we are at the state that we are? Has his office, in effect, done what it is or done what was necessary to ensure that people within South Africa are what he refers to as compliant? And why have we reached where we are now? Because it's very simple. Any person who is an immigrant in our country currently is among the most vulnerable. And the economic state of our country currently as well creates a situation where people within our country will target the most vulnerable to ensure that their survival. In this case here, we have a fundamental problem, and that is politics. We are allowing politics to override basic ethics and morality that should exist in society. And that is the point from which we should derive our actions moving forward.
Verushka,
So, yeah.
obviously, this does smack of politicking on the part of the Home Affairs Minister. I'm kind of thinking, the elections are around the corner, and they're going to do everything in their power to garner as many votes as they can. And these type of utterances by them would um, would create discomfort amongst the locals, very especially the unemployed local people, and it also stokes the fire of xenophobia. At the same time, we also know that South Africans are the very same people creating a lot of the problems as far as illegal immigrants are concerned, because these poor, vulnerable people are being exploited unimaginably. We just need to look at the Marshalltown fires to realize what went down there. Those were not hijacked buildings by the illegal immigrants. Those were buildings hijacked by our own people and then put in illegal immigrants in those very, very unsafe conditions and exploit them further by charging unimaginable rentals. Your thoughts?
So, I think as we approach 2024, we're going to find more and more of this politicking opportunities rise among politicians, because politicians actually feed off the weaknesses of people. And in this case, the foreign or migrant communities are becoming the targets here, simply because it's very easy to say that they're non-compliant, they're illegal, and they are the reason that you have this huge unemployment rate. They're coming here to take your jobs, your opportunities, etc. The bottom line is that there is a large unemployment rate in our country. And this unemployment rate, someone has to take accountability for it. And it is us, very South Africans. Are we doing enough to ensure that the employment rate is greater and the unemployment rate is reduced? We cannot be pointing at people with no control within the country, place blame on them, and then expect to benefit politically. No, it doesn't work like that.
It is so
So,
sad
us as,
because, carry
sorry.
on, please, carry on.
So us as people within South Africa should look at means and ways to eliminate the unemployment and not allow people in politics to distract us from what the actual solution is.
Let me share another statement made by Aaron Motsoaledi. He says that, are you still with me?
Yes, I am with you.
Okay,
Sorry.
he's gone on to say that they busted a human trafficking syndicate which was operating in Ekurhuleni. That was last Friday, and that the Home Affairs Department had intercepted more than 100 undocumented immigrants, suggesting that these people have been human trafficked, and then when they come into our country, just create more problems. And he's also finger pointing the situation with the Zama Zamas. We know what happened a few weeks ago in the township of Riverlee, west of Johannesburg. And again, I pose the question in my interviews about the just how vulnerable that the Zamazamas are. They too are being absolutely exploited, and other people, local South Africans, are being enriched in the process. So these people are really very, very vulnerable. But like you say, the politicians are using it to further their own agendas. How do we assist these people who are the poorest of the poor? They are desperate. They're trying to eke out a living in South Africa. And then these are the type of situations that happen. They are jam packed in buildings like the Marshalltown fire, and that is a ticking time bomb, as we've seen. And then the situation with the Zamazamas.
Well, actually, if we had to look at the state and wish for them to have a solution to all of this, the DHA must look into legislation that currently exists, right? And then, with proper, open, and transparent, or in a transparent manner, ensure that there is a solution to these issues. We must remember these people have been found inside of our country, right? They've already passed a border. So where is the underlying issue? Is it within certain offices within our country, or is it the people who are just seeking refuge right now? That's I think, very relevant.
We're also hearing reports about Home Affairs officials who are on the take. They turn a blind eye to paperwork that's not in order. But They turn a blind eye, but then they get their palms are then greased, obviously, with money. And a lot of this type of corruption is happening. And that is why the situation of illegal immigrants, supposedly illegal immigrants, is on the rise in South Africa.
So
Verushka.
again, what are we referring to? We're looking at how Home Affairs is operating, right? And we cannot deny it's a mess. For an ordinary South African that attends Home Affairs, it's difficult to say that you won't attend more than once or twice before you actually achieve the, getting served at one of their counters. The bottom line is that Home Affairs needs an overhaul. There needs to be proper management, proper processes. All of this needs to be visited. We cannot be pointing at people coming from across the border when we don't have our own house in order.
Absolutely. What is the solution going forward? You are one of the very many NGOs and NPOs trying to alleviate the plight of these very poor, defenseless people. They have fled their own country for possibly political or economic betterment. In South Africa. How do we assist these people without our locals attacking them and saying that you're stealing our jobs and you're taking away homes that were meant for us? So, as you and I speak, I'm envisioning, I hope I'm wrong, I'm envisioning a rise in xenophobic attacks against illegal immigrants or immigrants at large.
Well, we're hoping that is not the case. And all we can do is appeal to politicians, to leaders in society, to be truthful to themselves and ensure that we do not stoke flames that creates, um, these sort of attacks. We need to be honest in the manner in which we conduct our work, and we need to ensure that we protect everyone who is within our country. It doesn't make us great to be attacking fellow human beings. At some stage, even politicians cheap politicking and get down to the real issues.
How does your organization, Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia, work within the communities to create awareness and to create a situation of living in peace and harmony? What is the type of work you put out so that people become conscientized against the plight of immigrants?
Because we're nationally based, we're able to work with other organizations. We work within communities. We reach people on the ground. We're not a top down approach. We have all sorts of interventions, workshops, meetings, etc. We have, get togethers. So, in effect, this organization, our organization, is able to give you the word from the ground. And I think that is what is very necessary if anyone wants to make positive change.
Absolutely. May you continue your amazing work. And is it well received? Because obviously you need to engage with the immigrant community, including the locals as well, to understand how to be able to live in harmony side by side. Do you think it makes a difference?
From our work, I can honestly say that the message on the ground is well received. The people with whom we work are positive people, people who are embrace people from other countries, people who assist people to find their way. There are no violations that take place within our midst. So, in effect, I believe that Kopanang is effective. Kopanang is able to deliver for the people of South Africa and for people beyond the borders of South Africa.
Verushka Memdutt, continue the amazing work by trying to obviously uh, help the helpless, the poorest of the poor, people seeking refuge in our country, people trying to come here to hopefully make a better life for themselves. Verushka Memdutt, Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia, thank you indeed for talking with us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And that interview was in response to a pronouncement last month by Aaron Motsoaledi that officials would be conducting extensive law enforcement operations to deport individuals living in the country without proper documentation. It is just exactly 9:34. News and views on Salam Media. And coming up next, we are going to be talking, Deaf Awareness Month to raise awareness about South African Sign Language. Please stay with us.
Humanity sets the